Hello, children!
Hey, it's J-Man. How you doing?
Oh, I'm doing good. Hey, listen, I'm about to do a J-Man reads, so, prepare your anus. So.
Alright.
Okay, this is one that this is the one that I wrote myself. You're gonna love it. It's called Hank's Other Good Dream. Yeah, okay. When we last left Hank Hill, he killed his wife and son by accident as a result of a nightmare overreaction, and then was about to shoot his pet dog Ladybird. He cocks his shotgun with a tear in his eye and says, "Goodbye, Ladybird." A bang is heard, but then Hank wakes up again. He's in his bed alongside his wife Peggy, and on his side of the bed, he's covered in piss, semen, and blood. "Oh, thank God, it was only a dream." "Again," said Hank. Hank decided to go to the kitchen and have himself a bowl of cereal. He pours the cereal into a bowl and remembers he doesn't have milk. He decides to just masturbate into his cereal as a milk substitute and enjoy it then. "Damn," said Hank, "it tastes like Jesus." He ate the whole bowl of cum cereal and drove off to Strickland Propane for work. On his way to work, he saw his schizoid neighbor Dale Gribble standing in the middle of the road. "Dang it, Dale!" shouted Hank as he honked the horn. "Scoot your ass out of the way! I need to get to work today!" Then Dale turned around to face Hank, and Hank realizes that Dale is in fact a Russian zombie like in the dream before. Hank screams as Dale shouts, "Propane fuel can't melt steel beams, Hank!" and proceeds to run over Dale with his truck. With that incident, Hank wonders if he's still asleep and is actually in his dream world. But he shrugs it off and continues driving to work. He eventually made it to work without any more abnormalities happening and speaks to his boss, Buck Strickland. "Hank," said the man, "I need you to look after that store while I'm gone on an extended vacation." "Oh my God, really, Mr. Strickland?" "But why?" asked Hank. "Don't ask," replied Strickland just before driving off with some black hookers, 16 pounds of cocaine, and a drunk leprechaun. It took Hank a few minutes to realize that he's the manager, and that means he can do whatever he wants at his job now. Hank seizes the opportunity to have sex with his male co-workers, and then have sex with the propane tanks, and then sell a couple of propane trails, but then have sex with the customers who will subsequently buy the grills. And yes, Hank went both ways with the customers. How are you guys enjoying this so far?
Good story. I'm loving the plot. How many twists?
Thank you. And no. The day turned out to be a huge freaking success for Strickland Propane, and Hank adds a 420 weed break as a celebration. Hank's Mexican co-worker Enrique brought some imported weed from all the way down in Mexico, and they and Joe Jack take turns blowing joints in Hank's office. They started asking questions about life, and Hank asked, "Do you guys ever think that we're not actually in real life right now?" "How so?" asked Joe Jack. "Well, I still think I might be in my dream, 'cause I saw Dale this morning and..." He was interrupted by Enrique, who thought up a better question. "Hey, Hank! Who do you think is the hottest?" "Well," said Hank, "I think Bobby's got a kinky fat ass." "Ain't that your boy, Hank?" asked Joe Jack, and Hank answered, "Yeah, and my son's ass is the chunkiest one of all. I'd tap it." After a small pause, Enrique replied, "I'd tap that ass too, Hank." I need to go get some water.
I understand. You sound like you've been drinking propane when you talk with that Hank Hill voice.
Just then, someone was knocking on the front door. The guys draw us to see who would answer, and Hank pulled the shortest one. Why do I always have the short one, he pondered. Then he went to the door to tell him, sorry fucker, store's closed. But then he noticed that it was the Russian zombie Dale again. No. Hank went to get the gun from under Strickland's desk and shot him in the dick. It stuns him, so Hank ran like hell. Hank figures out that he's still in a dream and needs to wake up. Hank would only get so far down the road before he sees that the road turned into a giant horse penis, which cried a river of sperm. Hank takes the boat sitting next to the sperm waterfall and took it to Cheesy Genie Land. Wait, did I just say that? No, I meant hell. And Hank's niece Luann is in there in Nazi domination gear, whipping her deadbeat husband Lucky. She turned her head to Hank and shouted, "You're next, Uncle Hank!" Yelled Hank, "This is not a good dream at all, and this is a goddamn nightmare! Put me out of this fucking misery, please!" Luann makes a menacing giggle and responds, "Sure, Uncle Hank. I'll put you out of your misery." Luann snaps her fingers and Hank is now in a rack, gagged and naked with his large balls exposed. And she states, "Remember, Uncle Hank, the safety words are Dallas Cowboys suck!" Hank clearly takes offense to this and tries to talk, but then gets struck in the testicles with Luann's spike heel and starts bleeding all over the rack. And he starts screaming in agony, "I think I'm a little thirsty. Why don't I drink some milk from your tits?" said Luann, and she proceeds to yank on Hank's nipples and squirts a white liquid from him. Hank feels simultaneously terrified and aroused by this at the same time. Luann asks, "Are you starting to enjoy this? Wait for it, Uncle Hank, because the best part is coming." And then began wrapping her mouth around his dick, giving him a moist feeling all around it. Hank opens his eyes to find that she actually turned into a squid, and he starts screaming again. The squid kid rips off what's left of Hank's genitalia and tears out his nipples with her tentacles. Out of nowhere, Bill's severed head falls on top of Hank's chest, and Hank finally wakes up. "Motherfucker," said Hank, "that has to be the most fucked up dream I've ever had." "What's the matter, Hank?" asked Bobby in lingerie lying next to Hank. Then Hank screamed and woke up again. This time he woke up from a wet dream as usual, so he knows he's up and awake this time. Then he heads down to the kitchen for some cereal and pours some into the bowl. He remembers that they ran out of milk, so he decides to jerk off into his cereal. But then sees that his penis turned into Boomhauer's head, and that says, "Hey man, don't you dang old touch your junk, man. I don't need to be looking at a middle-aged old man spanking his monkey, man." Hank would keep waking up from horrifying dreams repeatedly until he wakes up in a hospital, where the doctor says he's been in a drug-induced coma for over a while. Peggy and Bobby were standing next to Hank's bed, relieved that he finally woke up. "You know, Peggy," said Hank, "there's nothing like a good dick in a little boy's fat ass. Hey, Bobby, could you fix my morning wood?" And then Bobby said, "Sure thing, Hank." As it turns out, his dick was a propane tank, and his balls were also tiny propane tanks. "Bobby, I'm going to teach you the greatest lesson of your life," said Hank while he strokes his propane tank dick.
If you get kicked and then you say, "I really don't care," then why are you responding?
Guys, You have 5 minutes to stop, or I'm calling an admin.
I'm not even doing anything. They just want to kick me.
You're talking.
Then don't instigate. Don't say anything else. Just stop.
That's what I've been doing the whole entire time.